Welcome to the first tutorial on how to use Autodesk Inventor that I'm going to put out. You'll see a lot of these techniques should be applicable to using SolidWorks or some other CAD software. In a lot of cases they are pretty similar. So this will be sort of a basic introductory video using sketches and basic extruding, just to sort of get you started on some basic things. Alright, so let's get started. So I already have a part open. I did it in millimeters just because that's what I'm used to. So to get started, hit sketch up here. You can click up this button right here, and then you'll see the three planes that you can choose from. You got XZ, YZ, or XY. Depending on what you do, it'll matter. If you're just going to use one single item, one single part, it's probably not a big deal. So let's just go ahead and do the XZ plane. And I'm going to want to make a box. So I'll go up here and click the rectangle. And this is doing the 2-point rectangle, so you start from one corner and drag to the opposite corner, however big you want it. And you can see it's already pre-constrained with the little parallel bars. Moving on, let's dimension this. So let's just make this even 20 millimeters, and we can make this one, say, 15. Okay, so that's size, but you can see the lines are still green. That means that it is not fully dimensioned. So right now what it's asking for is, because it already has the size of the rectangle, it needs to know where the rectangle is. So a good way to do this is to, still using your dimension tool, grab from one of the sides, one of the lines, and drag it to the origin right here. And then you'll see this other dimension coming up, and that basically means how far away in this direction is it from the origin. So if I wanted to make this perfectly centered, what I can do is go up here and click on the 20, and that will be D0. That is what this dimension is. This D0, it starts, everything starts at 0 and then goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And you can see this right here of what's starting out as a 8.563 is called D2. So if you want to be able to reference that later, you can either click on it, or if it's on another sketch where you can't click on it, you just have to remember to type in D2 is what I want to do. So basically, to make this centered, I want to have it be half of what the 20 is. So simply do D0 divided by 2. And that will bring that center in that direction, and then we'll do the same for the top. But we will click on the 15, which is D1. And of course, divide that by 2. And now it's centered, and you can see all the lines are purple, which means it is fully dimensioned, fully constrained. You are good to go. So the next thing we can do is hit Finish Sketch, because we want to extrude this. So we go up here and click on the Extrude button, and you'll see it'll automatically do a direction and a certain amount. It just sort of always does 10 millimeters if you're doing metric. But depending on what you want to do, that might be right or it might not be right. So there's a couple ways you can adjust this. One is you can grab this arrow and pull it down or up, and you can see the number changes as I do it. But if you just want to make it precise, really quickly, you can type in, say, 25 millimeters. You can see how much taller that is. If you want to make it go in the other direction, you see it's already, it assumed you want to go direction 1, which in this case was up in the positive Y direction. But if I want to go in the opposite direction, I can do direction 2, and you can see that it is now going down. Oops. Let's see if we can get this back here. Alright, whatever. So you have direction 1, direction 2, or you can have it be centered symmetrically. And so that'll be 12.5 one direction, 12.5 in the other direction. Depending on what you do and where you are in your modeling, this can make a big difference or it can make no difference. Or you can do it asymmetrically, where you will have 2 distances to go, 1 in each direction. So if I wanted to make this, say, go 20 millimeters in one direction, and then 15 in the other, you can see how that's affected. And if you realize, oh, I want these numbers, but I want it to go in the opposite direction, well, you can simply click on this button right here, which will reverse that. You can see that, how it switches. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to doing direction 1 and 25 millimeters. Alright, great. So you have a box. Congratulations. Now what do we want to do with it? Do we want to take this further? Well, let's see what it is. Let's try and go a little bit further than this. So we can do another sketch, and instead of clicking on one of the origin planes, you can click on one of these sides to start a sketch. So I will click here on this side, somewhat arbitrarily, and I will do another rectangle. So I'm not going to have it aligned with anything. I'm just going to sort of have it coming out from inside a little bit and then protruding out. So now I want to dimension this, and I'm going to make this one 15, and I'll make this one 25. Great. Now you can see they're green, which means it's not fully dimensioned. It doesn't know everything it really should know for where this should be. So we need to make a measurement from the top. I'll have this be, say, 5 millimeters. Just click 5 and enter. Okay. The next thing is I want this to be centered between this line and this line. So how do I do this? Well, what I can do, if I don't remember what this length was, it's sort of a pain to look it up, and this might be the extruded, which is even further a little bit more complicated to figure out what that dimension is. So you can just type in, let's say, D0 or something. But you can go and measure it by going to the Inspect ribbon, doing distance, and clicking there, and that is 25 millimeters long, which is what we extruded it out to be. Okay, so now, going back to dimensioning this, what we need to do is basically come up with a formula. So this is going to be from this line to this line is what we will do. So is D9. And to center this, we need to figure out what basically the total space is between this line and this line and this line and this line, and we want it to be equal in half of what it should be. So what we will do is take the 25, actually we'll put this in parentheses, we'll do 25 minus, and because this is just easily clickable, minus the 15, which is at D6, and that will give us the total difference between the two widths of the rectangles. So if I were just to click enter on here, it'll go all the way to one side. You can see that. But what I really want to do is center it, so I want to divide this by 2, and that'll make it even on both sides. And now we are centered. So go ahead and click Finish Sketch, and let's extrude this. Okay, so there's a couple things we can do. One is we can click here and just have this new box extrude and have that come out. Or if I hold control and click on it, that'll go away. Or I could do basically this box again. Or I could do them all together. But I don't want that. So I'm going to click on this rectangle, but I don't want it coming out. Actually, what I want to do is cut into the first rectangle. So you can see here in this middle column there are a few different options that you have. One being cut, which is exactly what I want to do. And what that will do is you can see it automatically switch the direction because it's going into it and it's being pretty smart about it. And what it is going to do is take this shape, the second rectangle that we made, and subtract it from the first rectangle that we made. And so if we click OK, you'll see that. Basically, you sort of get this arc shape. Alright, now that is great, but there is another option that we can do. And if we go back here and double click on the extrusion, on extrusion 2, we can change this option to be intersect. And what this will do is this will keep only where where the two rectangles matched up in that extrusion. So you can see right now the number is 25 millimeters, which means it is going from all the way from over here to over here. But because that first rectangle did not go that far deep, it's stopping right here. So it's basically doing whatever is both rectangles combined, but nothing where only one is and not the other. So if both objects are in that space, that's what it will keep. So this will just be another square like this. So that's just for your reference. And that's not very interesting. This is a plain box. So let's go back and make it just simple cut. Okay, so now we have this more interesting shape. So just to further illustrate the other option, the intersect option, we'll click on this plane right here, this front plane, and we'll do another sketch. And for this one, I'm going to do a circle. So I'm going to start it in the middle. You can see it sort of locks on, it snaps onto the middle place right there. So that's great. And yeah, that looks good. So we'll make it the total size of total length of this rectangle, of this shape. Great. And you see it automatically assumed the size because it snapped into place, and it has a position based off of the center right there where it snapped onto the center of that line. So it's purple, so that is good to go. So I'll click Finish Sketch and go back to Extrude. Now I'm going to click on the circle. And obviously it always sort of assumes you want to basically add to it and add in that direction, in whatever direction it is. Of course, if I were to go up or the other direction and still have add, you'll get something that looks like that. But that's not what I want. I want to intersect it. So I'll go back and click intersect, and you can see it's keeping where this sphere or cylinder is and where the original arc or end shape, whatever you want to call it, is, and it's keeping that. But it's not keeping where only one of them was. So if we hit OK, you can do that by using this green arrow or clicking the OK button. You'll see this is what you get. So it's just one way that you can make more interesting shapes, sort of hacking and slashing and cutting away, but it's one way to make the shape that you need. And some cases it's a great way, some cases it's not the best way, but it should get you started making some interesting shapes. Alright, so I hope you liked this first tutorial. There should be more coming soon. If you want to see more and learn more about how to use Autodesk Inventor or just sort of in CAD in general, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can know when more videos come out, more tutorials come out. And like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Leave a comment below on what I can do better or what you really liked. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.